For decades, the concept of unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, has been relegated to the fringes of society, often dismissed as mere fantasy or even outright delusion. Skepticism has long been the default position, with official narratives consistently downplaying or outright denying the existence of phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Yet beneath the surface of doubt and dismissal, a profound and undeniable shift has been quietly taking place. In recent years, a series of astonishing disclosures has emerged, not from the usual sources of speculation, but from the very institutions once thought to be the most resistant to such discussions. Our journey into unidentified flying object revelations takes us to Canada, a nation surprisingly at the forefront of official government inquiry into this phenomenon in the mid-20th century. While popular narratives often center on United States incidents, Canada's early and serious engagement provides a fascinating, often overlooked chapter in unidentified flying object research. This interest wasn't driven by sensationalism, but by a methodical, scientific approach initiated at the highest levels of government. At the heart of this Canadian endeavor was Wilbert Smith, a senior radio engineer with the Department of Transport. In the 1950s, Smith investigated unidentified flying objects, implications for Canada's national security and scientific advancement. This led to Project Magnet, an official government study launched in 1952. Unlike efforts focused on debunking, Project Magnet aimed to gather and analyze data with a serious, open-minded approach. Smith and his team established a monitoring station in Shirley's Bay, Ontario, equipped with specialized instruments to detect magnetic anomalies and unusual phenomena. However, data collection wasn't Project Magnet's only significance. Wilbert Smith's most startling claim, a major revelation, stemmed from his alleged communications with high-level officials in the United States. Smith asserted the top-secret United States government study concluded that unidentified flying objects were not only real, physical phenomena, but also of extraterrestrial origin. This was an extraordinary claim, especially from an official government scientist. Smith conveyed this information through a now famous memorandum, stating that the subject of unidentified flying objects was the most highly classified subject in the United States, even more highly classified than the H-bomb. This assertion, if true, meant a powerful allied nation had already concluded on these mysterious objects and was actively reverse engineering their advanced technology. For Canada, this presented both a challenge and an opportunity. If the United States possessed such groundbreaking knowledge, Canada needed to understand its implications for defense, technology, and international relations. Smith himself believed this technology could provide limitless energy, anti-gravity propulsion, and other advancements that would revolutionize human civilization. Following Smith's claims and Project Magnet's findings, Canada explored avenues to understand and potentially harness this alleged extraterrestrial technology. While the full extent of these efforts remains shrouded in secrecy, it is clear the Canadian government took Smith's findings seriously enough to allocate resources and intellectual capital to this pursuit. They were not merely observing, they were actively seeking to engage with and comprehend a phenomenon that, according to Smith, transcended conventional human understanding. Project Magnet eventually concluded, but its legacy is profound. It stands as one of the earliest, most explicit examples of a Western government officially acknowledging extraterrestrial visitation and attempting to understand its technological implications. Wilbert Smith's bold assertions, backed by his government position, forced a re-evaluation of the unidentified flying object phenomenon from a fringe topic to a matter of national security and scientific inquiry. This early Canadian pursuit of the unknown laid crucial groundwork, demonstrating official interest in unidentified flying objects had roots stretching back decades, challenging the long-held narrative of universal government denial. It set a precedent for future revelations, hinting at a deeper, more complex history of official engagement with unidentified aerial phenomena. While the United States and Canada grappled with their own unidentified flying object phenomena, across the Atlantic, a quiet but equally profound shift was occurring within the European establishment. France, a nation known for its independent scientific and military thought, would eventually contribute one of the most significant, albeit unofficial, revelations to the global discourse on unidentified aerial phenomena. This came in the form of a highly detailed and compelling document known as Operation Cometa. Released in 1999, the Cometa report was not a product of a fringe group or a single rogue researcher. Instead, it was the culmination of a study conducted by 44 high-ranking French military, intelligence, and scientific personnel. These individuals, many of whom held distinguished careers within the French Ministry of Defense, the General Delegation for Armament, and various scientific institutions, brought an unprecedented level of credibility and rigor to their investigation. Their collective expertise spanned aeronautics, astrophysics, defense strategy, and intelligence analysis. making their findings exceptionally difficult to dismiss. The report's full title, UFOs and Defense: What Must We Be Prepared For?, immediately signaled its serious intent. Over 90 pages, Operation Cometa meticulously analyzed a vast array of unidentified flying object cases, drawing from both public records and, crucially, classified military and intelligence files. It examined radar tracks, pilot testimonies, photographic evidence, and the physical effects reported by witnesses. The methodology employed was rigorous, aiming to eliminate all conventional explanations for the observed phenomena. What made Operation Cometa truly groundbreaking was its unequivocal conclusion. After exhaustive analysis, the authors stated that a purely conventional explanation for the observed unidentified flying object phenomena was simply not tenable. They posited that the most probable hypothesis for the origin of these highly unusual aerial objects was extraterrestrial. Furthermore, the report went beyond mere identification, asserting that these phenomena posed a genuine defense challenge, implying potential implications for national security and air sovereignty. This was a stark departure from the typical governmental stance of either denial or passive observation. It is vital to emphasize that while compiled by highly placed officials, Operation Cometa was technically not an official government statement. It was presented as an independent study, published under the auspices of a private association of former auditors of the Institute of Higher National Defense Studies. However, the sheer caliber of the individuals involved meant that its conclusions resonated deeply within French military and scientific circles, and indeed across Europe and beyond. The report effectively served as a powerful internal challenge to the prevailing skepticism, forcing a re-evaluation of the unidentified flying object phenomenon from within the very institutions that had long been tasked with dismissing it. The impact of Operation Cometa was profound. It lent immense credibility to the extraterrestrial hypothesis, not from a sensationalist perspective, but from a sober, analytical one rooted in defense considerations. It provided a framework for discussing unidentified aerial phenomena as a legitimate security concern, rather than solely a subject of scientific curiosity or public fascination. For the first time, a major European power's defense establishment, through the voices of its most experienced members, publicly acknowledged the potential reality of an extraterrestrial presence and its implications for human civilization. This report remains a cornerstone of the argument for official transparency and serious scientific inquiry into unidentified aerial phenomena, demonstrating that the profound questions surrounding these objects are being asked and answered by those at the highest echelons of power. While the world often focuses on the United States or European nations when discussing unidentified flying objects, South America, particularly Brazil, has its own rich and often dramatic history of military engagement with these phenomena. One of the most compelling and thoroughly documented cases is Operation Prato, or Operation Plea, an intense military investigation launched by the Brazilian Air Force in the late 1970s. This was not a passive observation. It was a direct, active military response to widespread unidentified flying object sightings and alleged attacks on civilians in the Amazon region. The events leading to Operation Prato began in 1977, centered around the town of Colares in the state of Pará. Residents reported being terrorized by strange, luminous objects in the night sky. These objects, described as disc-shaped, cylindrical, or even resembling large glowing spheres, were not merely observed. They were reported to interact directly with people. Witnesses claimed to have been hit by beams of light emanating from these objects, resulting in strange burns, temporary paralysis, and even unconsciousness. The local population was in a state of panic, referring to the phenomena as chupa-chupa, or suck-suck, due to the belief that the beams were draining their blood or energy. The sheer volume and consistency of the reports, coupled with the physical symptoms experienced by the alleged victims, became too significant for the authorities to ignore. In response, the Brazilian Air Force, under the command of Colonel Uranges Polanda, launched Operation Prato. A team of military personnel, including pilots, photographers, and intelligence officers, was dispatched to the region with orders to investigate, document, and if necessary, confront the unknown aerial objects. This was an extraordinary step, marking a direct and official military acknowledgement of the phenomena as a tangible threat, requiring intervention. For several months, the military team meticulously collected evidence. They took numerous photographs and filmed hours of video footage of the unexamined aerial phenomena. They interviewed hundreds of witnesses, documenting their testimonies, including those of individuals who claimed to have been directly affected by the light beams. The declassified files from Operation Prato, later released to the public, contain detailed reports, sketches, and even photographic evidence that depict various types of unidentified flying objects hovering, maneuvering at incredible speeds, and interacting with the environment. The military's own reports describe objects performing maneuvers impossible for conventional aircraft, exhibiting sudden changes in direction and acceleration that defied known physics. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of Operation Prato is the testimony of Kurland himself. Years after the operation, he gave a detailed interview, confirming the military's direct encounters with the objects. He described seeing the unidentified flying objects firsthand, confirming their unusual characteristics and the fear they instilled in the population. His testimony, combined with the declassified photographic and video evidence, provides a powerful and undeniable account of a military force actively engaging with an unexplained aerial phenomenon that appeared to be hostile. Operation Prato stands as a stark example of a nation's military directly confronting unidentified aerial phenomena, not as a theoretical exercise, but as a response to a perceived threat to its citizens. The declassified documents and the testimonies of the military personnel involved represent a profound official acknowledgment of the existence of advanced, unknown aerial craft operating within sovereign airspace. This intense investigation in Brazil offers a chilling glimpse into the potential real-world implications of these encounters, moving the conversation beyond mere sightings to direct physical interactions and military responses. For decades, the United Kingdom, like many nations, maintained a veil of secrecy around its investigations into unidentified aerial phenomena. However, in a move that significantly altered the global landscape of unidentified flying object transparency, the UK Ministry of Defence embarked on a systematic process of declassifying and releasing thousands of its unidentified flying object files. This unprecedented release, spanning from the early 2000s to 2013, provided an invaluable, if sometimes perplexing, insight into how a major world power officially handled reports of unexplained aerial objects. These files, now accessible through the UK National Archives, reveal a consistent, albeit often skeptical interest from the Ministry of Defence in these phenomena. While the official conclusion often stated no defense threat, and attributed many sightings to misidentification of conventional aircraft, weather balloons or natural phenomena, the sheer volume and detail of the investigations themselves tell a different story. They demonstrate that the Ministry of Defense took these reports seriously enough to dedicate resources to their investigation, often involving multiple government agencies and military branches. Among the myriad of documents, one case stands out as particularly emblematic of the UK's engagement with unidentified aerial phenomena: the Rendlesham Forest incident. Often dubbed Britain's Roswell, this series of events occurred in late 1980 in Suffolk, England, near two military bases, RA Foot Woodbridge and RA Foot Waters, both used by the United States Air Force. Multiple military personnel, including high-ranking officers, reported seeing strange lights and a metallic triangular craft in Rendlesham Forest. Some even claimed to have approached and touched the object, describing unusual symbols on its surface. The declassified files pertaining to Rendlesham Forest include official reports, witness statements, and internal memoranda, confirming the military's direct involvement in the investigation. While the Ministry of Defense never officially declared the object extraterrestrial, the reports acknowledged the unexplained nature of the events and the credible testimonies of the military personnel involved. The incident became a touchstone for unidentified flying object enthusiasts and researchers, highlighting the inadequacy of conventional explanations for certain high-strangeness events. The release of these documents, even with their often ambiguous conclusions, solidified Rendlesham Forest as one of the most compelling unidentified flying object cases globally, showcasing the extent of government interest in unexplained aerial phenomena. Beyond famous incidents, the UK files also shed light on the systematic process of reporting and investigating unexecutive flying object sightings by the public and military personnel. They detail how reports were logged, analyzed, and often correlated with radar data and air traffic control records. While many cases were ultimately explained, a significant number remained unresolved, categorized as unexplained or requiring further investigation. This body of evidence, meticulously collected over decades, provides a crucial historical record of official engagement with a phenomenon that continues to defy easy categorization. The UK's decision to declassify and release these files was a monumental step towards transparency. It allowed the public and researchers unprecedented access to official government data, fostering a more informed discussion about unexplained aerial phenomena. While the files may not provide definitive answers, they unequivocally demonstrate that the British government, like others, has long been aware of and actively investigated unexplained aerial incursions into its airspace. This systematic release underscores the evolving official narrative, moving from outright denial to a more nuanced acknowledgement of persistent, unexplained phenomena. While many nations have historically approached the subject of unidentified aerial phenomena with secrecy or outright denial, Chile stands as a remarkable exception. This South American country has adopted one of the world's most transparent and consistent governmental approaches to investigating unidentified flying object sightings. At the heart of this progressive stance is CEFAA, the Committee for the Study of Anomalous Aerial Phenomena, an official government agency that publicly investigates and verifies unidentified aerial phenomena reports. CEFAA operates under the umbrella of the DMC Chile's General Directorate of Civil Aeronautics, which is the equivalent of the Federal Aviation Administration in the United States. This institutional backing provides CEFAA with unique credibility and access to crucial data, including air traffic control records, radar information, and pilot testimonies. Unlike many other countries where such investigations might be relegated to obscure military intelligence units, CEFAA's integration within the Civil Aviation Authority underscores Chile's commitment to a public, scientific, and safety-oriented approach. The committee comprises a diverse group of experts, including scientists, meteorologists, Air Force personnel, and aviation specialists. Their methodology is rigorous and transparent. When a report of an unidentified aerial phenomenon is received, CEFAA undertakes a thorough investigation. This often involves interviewing witnesses, analyzing photographic and video evidence, cross-referencing with air traffic and radar data, and consulting with relevant scientific disciplines. Crucially, CEFAA publishes its findings, making its investigations and conclusions accessible to the public. This commitment to openness fosters trust and encourages further reporting, creating a valuable database of verified cases. One particular compelling case officially acknowledged and verified by CEFAA involved the Chilean Navy helicopter crew in 2014. The crew, flying a Dolphin helicopter on a routine patrol, recorded a highly unusual object on their infrared camera. The object, initially appearing as a distant dot, exhibited no discernible propulsion system, left no exhaust trail, and performed complex maneuvers that defied known aerodynamic principles. Attempts to contact the object via radio were unsuccessful, and it was invisible to the naked eye, only appearing on the infrared sensor. Both the pilot and the camera operator, experienced professionals, could not identify it. Another significant case involved multiple witnesses, including pilots and ground personnel, observing strange lights and objects over the Atacama Desert, a region known for its clear skies and astronomical observatories. The EFA meticulously gathered testimonies and correlated them with available radar data, which in some instances corroborated the visual sightings of objects moving at incredible speeds or performing incredible turns. These cases, among many others, showcase CEFAA's dedication to verifying reports with multiple lines of evidence, including objective data like radar tracks, whenever possible. Plea's approach, through CEFA, represents a paradigm shift in how governments can engage with the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic. By establishing a public, scientifically driven, and transparent body, Chile has created a model for other nations seeking to move beyond secrecy and speculation. It demonstrates that official investigation into these phenomena can be conducted with integrity, contributing to a more informed public discourse and potentially paving the way for greater international cooperation on a subject that truly transcends national borders. This ongoing commitment to open inquiry makes Chile a quiet leader in the global quest to understand the mysteries of our skies. In the annals of unidentified flying object history, few moments are as extraordinary and unprecedented as when a sitting head of state formally addressed the United Nations General Assembly, not to discuss geopolitical conflicts or economic development, but to advocate for serious international research into unidentified aerial phenomena. This remarkable event occurred in 1977, spearheaded by Sir Eric Gary, then Prime Minister of the tiny Caribbean nation of Grenada. It was a direct appeal by a world leader on the global stage, urging international cooperation on a phenomenon that had long been relegated to the fringes of scientific and political discourse. Eric Gary was a charismatic and controversial figure in Grenadian politics, known for his populist appeal and, perhaps less conventionally, for a national leader, his deep personal interest in the paranormal and unidentified flying objects. He firmly believed that these phenomena represented a significant aspect of reality that humanity could no longer afford to ignore. For Gary, the subject was not merely one of curiosity, but held profound implications for global security, scientific advancement, and humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. He saw the United Nations, with its mandate for international cooperation and peace, as the ideal forum to address such a universal mystery. The moment arrived on November 28, 1977, when the item, establishment of an agency or department of the United Nations for undertaking, coordinating, and disseminating the results of research into unidentified flying objects and related phenomena, was formally placed on the agenda of the General Assembly's Special Political Committee. Gary, seizing this unique opportunity, delivered a passionate and articulate speech. He presented a compelling argument that unidentified flying objects were a global phenomenon, observed by credible witnesses across all continents, and that their advanced technology and unknown origins posed questions that transcended national boundaries. He cited numerous cases, including military encounters and radar confirmations, to underscore the reality and seriousness of the issue. Gary argued that the continued official silence and lack of coordinated international effort were detrimental to human progress. He emphasized that an international body, free from nationalistic biases and equipped with scientific rigor, was necessary to collect, analyze, and disseminate data on unidentified flying objects. Such an agency, he posited, could foster a shared understanding, prevent potential misunderstandings, and harness any potential benefits from the phenomena. He envisioned a future where nations collaborated openly on this frontier of knowledge, rather than allowing fear or secrecy to dictate their approach. While Gary's appeal garnered significant media attention and some support from smaller nations, it also met with considerable skepticism and even ridicule from larger, more established powers. Many delegates viewed the topic as unscientific or trivial, an inappropriate subject for the serious deliberations of the United Nations. Despite the initial resistance, Gary's efforts did lead to a resolution being passed, albeit a watered-down one, that encouraged member states to coordinate their research and share information through existing scientific channels. It was not the dedicated agency he sought, but it marked a symbolic, if tentative, step towards international acknowledgement. The significance of Eric Gary's address to the United Nations cannot be overstated. It was a truly unique revelation of official concern, demonstrating that the unidentified flying object phenomenon had reached a point where a world leader felt compelled to bring it to the highest international diplomatic forum. It shattered the perception that unidentified flying objects were solely the domain of fringe enthusiasts, and forced a brief, uncomfortable spotlight on a subject many governments prefer to ignore. Gary's bold move laid crucial groundwork, planting the seed for future discussions and highlighting the need for a unified, transparent approach to a mystery that continues to challenge humanity's understanding of its world. For decades, the United States government maintained a consistent stance of skepticism, if not outright dismissal, regarding unidentified aerial phenomena. Official projects, like Project Blue Book, had concluded that most sightings were misidentifications or hoaxes, and the topic was largely relegated to the realm of science fiction. However, starting in 2017, a series of unprecedented revelations from within the U.S. Department of Defense and Navy shattered this long-standing narrative, marking a profound paradigm shift in the public and official discourse surrounding unexplained aerial objects. This was not a leak, but a deliberate, albeit gradual, declassification and acknowledgement that would fundamentally alter the conversation. The catalyst for this monumental change was the public release of 3 now famous videos, FLIR 1, commonly known as Tic Tac, Gimbal, and Go Fast. These infrared and electric optical recordings, captured by US Navy fighter pilots, depicted objects exhibiting capabilities far beyond any known conventional aircraft. The Tic Tac video, filmed off the coast of San Diego in 2004, showed a white, oblong object accelerating, decelerating, and changing direction at impossible speeds, seemingly defying the laws of physics. The Gimbal and Go Fast videos, recorded in 2015 off the East Coast, similarly showed objects performing highly unusual maneuvers, with one appearing to rotate against the wind. These videos were initially leaked by former intelligence official Luis Elizondo, and later officially acknowledged by the Navy as authentic, depicting unidentified aerial phenomena. Crucially, these weren't just blurry, distant lights. They were captured by sophisticated military sensors, often corroborated by multiple pilots and radar systems, and involved highly trained military personnel as witnesses. The Navy's confirmation of their authenticity and the admission that the objects remained unidentified sent shockwaves through the scientific community, the media, and the public. It was no longer a matter of anecdotal sightings, but of verifiable data collected by the most advanced military in the world. Following these disclosures, the US government took further steps to institutionalize the investigation of these phenomena. In 2020, the Department of Defense officially established the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, UAPs, to understand the nature and origins of UAPs. This was succeeded by the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group, AMING, in 2021, and then, in 2022, by the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARO. High-level military and intelligence officials, including former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe and former Deputy Secretary of Defense David Norquist, publicly confirmed the existence of unexplained aerial phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Testimonies before Congress by Navy pilots and intelligence officials further solidified the reality of these encounters. The narrative had shifted from UFOs aren't real to UAPs are real, we don't know what they are, and they pose a potential national security concern. This game-changing admission from the Pentagon represents the most significant recent revelation from the United States. It has forced a re-evaluation of the entire unidentified aerial phenomenon subject, moving it from the fringes of conspiracy theory into the legitimate realm of scientific inquiry and national security. The public discourse is no longer about whether these phenomena exist, but what they are, where they come from, and what their implications might be for humanity. It signifies a profound turning point, pushing the world closer to confronting one of the most enduring mysteries of our time. Our journey through the official acknowledgments and revelations surrounding unidentified aerial phenomena has traversed continents and decades, revealing a consistent, undeniable pattern. Governments worldwide have long been aware of and actively investigated unexplained objects in our skies, from Brazil's direct military confrontation in Operation Prato to the systematic declassification of thousands of files by the UK Ministry of Defense, and Chile's transparent ongoing investigations via CEFAA. The official narrative has slowly but surely shifted. We've witnessed the head of state, Eric Gary of Grenada, pleading to the United Nations for international UFO research, a truly unique moment of global concern. Most recently, the Pentagon's game-changing admission with the official release of UAP videos and the establishment of dedicated offices like AARO has fundamentally altered the public discourse in the United States. These disclosures collectively pose profound questions for our understanding of reality. What do these advanced, unexplained phenomena signify about our technological capabilities, or perhaps those of others? What are the implications for national security, air safety, and our scientific paradigms? The consistent presence of objects exhibiting capabilities beyond human technology challenges our assumptions about physics and propulsion. The truth, it appears, is far more complex and intriguing than previously imagined. As more data emerges and as transparency becomes the norm rather than the exception, what further truths might be revealed about the nature of these phenomena and their origins? The conversation has moved beyond mere belief to verifiable fact. It is now up to us, as a global audience, to demand continued transparency, support rigorous scientific inquiry, and engage critically with the evidence. The quest for understanding what truly occupies our skies is a collective human endeavor, and the next chapter in this unfolding revelation awaits our active participation.